Hello everybody, I hope you're doing well. If you're a chess beginner, you will get everything you need to know in order to reach 1000 ELO. First of all, there is a technical part and there is a psychological part. First of all, if you do not play chess every day, if you do not train chess every day, you will never get better at the game. This is the mental part. You have to be able to commit. Now, the technical part, this is now where things get interesting. The training plan and the training program is simple. You learn one opening for white, one repertoire for black. For example, with the white pieces, what I would be recommending you is the so-called Collie system. The idea is very simple. You want to bring your bishop there, then you want to bring the knight out, then you want to castle, and then you see those pieces over there. You want to play knight d2. I will show you. Let's say castles. You want to play knight d2. You want to play knight e5. You want to play, for example, if they attack the center, you want to protect the center. You want to go knight f3. And it feels like I'm going super fast. But what the hell is Loris talking about? It's very simple. This is what we call commitment. You know that you want to play this opening. Now, what I would be asking you to do is try to play it as often as you can. Even though you do not understand anything, you will not get better at openings if you do not practice. So practice. Now, this is what you are supposed to learn with the white pieces. Now, just to show you the first moves, whatever white will go for, e4, d4, c4, f4, knight f3, knight c3, b4, b3, whatever. Your first pawn move as black will be c6. Why? Let's just say white goes e4, and you go d5. This is, by the way, what we call the Scandinavian defense. There is a principle called, oh no, my queen is in the center, so it can get attacked. But you don't want it. You want to have a pawn in the center. So you want to prepare this pawn move by playing c6. Now, white does something. For example, this is called the center. Yeah, very, very simple, very fast, very simple. White wants to take control of the center. So you want to fight back. Oopsie, you want to fight back. And if the pawn captures, guess what? You will capture back with the pawn. Now, when it comes to openings, there are a couple of principles you have to know. For example, the knight moves. The f6 square is what we call the best natural square for the knight. If you have your knight on f6, the knight controls a lot of squares. It controls 4 different squares. If you put the knight on the side of the board, let's say this, if you put it on the side of the board, it controls only 2. So we're not happy with that. So you want this knight to be there. Now, you can just guess it. Where do you want this knight to be? Do you want this knight to be on a6 or on c6? You want it on c6. Why? Because once again, it's controlling a lot of things. But now, let's say white castles, puts the king into safety. Now you really want to get the bishop out. But at the same time, you want to get this bishop out in order to castle. So you go e6. But the problem is that this bishop is being locked behind the pawn. We don't like it. So first, we have to be able to bring the bishop out. And then, once white does something, you can bring the pawn out and get the other bishop out. This is what we call strategy. Now, this pattern that you just saw in this opening will not be reproduced in any other openings. And this is why I'm very, very accurate when I'm talking about learn one opening for white and one repertoire for black, or one opening for black. It is because if you learn opening A, then analyze a game, and then there is a concept which is only present in opening B, then whatever you learn and whatever you train with opening A will not be usable because you don't know the concepts from opening B. Now, there is no magic secret. In order to get better and get to know every single concept, you have to play a lot of games. But guess what? It's taking forever. This is also why people tend to get chess trainers, is because with a chess trainer, you can learn an opening repertoire super fast. You can analyze your games daily, weekly. You send messages, you send games, and they just send you video analysis. This is, for example, what I'm doing. And then you get better. It is, of course, much deeper than what I'm doing today. I'm just showing to you what has to be done in order to reach your rating goals at any level. You have to play and get better, not at every single opening, but at your own openings. Now, this is what I had to talk about when it comes to openings. Now, let's just say right now I want to talk about middle game. How do I get better at middle games? This is what we call calculation. Let's just say, for example, we play the opening that we had before, the Scandinavian. Now, calculation is when you look for 3 types of moves. Checks, if I put you in check and you miss a check and you lose a piece, for example, it's a game over. For example, let's just say white plays the very bad move b3, boo, b3, boo. Here, if you miss it, there is simply check, which attacks the king and attacks the rook. You lose the game. But what did I just mention? I just mentioned the word attack. Why? Because in chess, you're looking for checks and threats. If you miss that you can get attacked, oh my goodness, you can lose every single chess game. But now, there is another type of forcing move because I said that there are 3. There are actually checks, threats, yeah, but first of all, captures and then threats. Why am I talking about that? Let's just say, for example, white goes for knight c3, which is attacking the queen, but I miss that the queen is getting attacked, so I'm basically missing this threat. Then guess what? If I'm not calculating, I will actually be losing the queen. Now, as white, when you turn around the chessboard, you see that you're attacking the queen. If you miss that you're actually attacking the queen and you play something else, you missed a capture. You missed a capture. You could have won the queen. You could have won the game. But guess what? You're not, because you missed that the queen is hanging. And this is how you prevent every single blunder, by calculating forcing moves, checks, captures, and threats. When you will be training that, so basically by solving calculation and puzzles, calculation exercise and puzzles, you will get better at calculating, not at chess, but at calculating. Now, there is another part. Let's just say white goes, black basically sees that the queen is getting attacked, and black decides to go queen c6. Queen c6 is a very bad move, but if you don't know why it's a bad move, it's actually a good move. Now, in this position, it's a terrible move because of what we call a weak signal. A weak signal is basically a list. You have unprotected pieces. So if something is not protected, you try to attack it or try to look for ways to capture the piece, and it can be very weak. Then there are unresolved tensions. If I see, for example, that I'm attacking your queen and I'm attacking something, this is what we call a tension. The queen here on d5 is applying a lot of tension. It is attacking a lot of things. If you miss that, for example, there is a tension and you bring the bishop out, you lose the pawn. So tensions are extremely important. So you have to calculate what happens if you resolve a tension. So something is hanging, and actually you calculate what happens if you capture the thing that is currently being hanging. If you see the tension on d5, you capture the queen. But there is also something called alignments, or basically two pieces are on the same diagonal, the same file, or the same rank. In this position, the queen and the king are together on the same diagonal. So you can just play bishop b5. And this is what we call a tactic. This is called a pin or a skewer. Let's just say that the king was there and the queen was behind. We will call it a skewer, but you get the point. You're basically putting a bishop on this diagonal that is full of queens and kings. Now, how do you get better at tactics? And this is now where it gets interesting. We have a lot of chess books working solely on tactical patterns, because tactics are basically patterns. You have to practice them in order to get better with them. But this is now where it gets interesting. All of these things that I'm just talking about, so calculation, tactics, strategy, openings, if you do it on your own, you're going to take years in order to get better. But what if you take yourself a chess trainer and you get good in 30 days? This is actually solvable. But okay, anyway, let's just keep going. In order to see those things, those tactics, you have to practice them, you have to train them. And this is how you get better, by practicing. And again, there is this psychological part that I was explaining right at the beginning, which is called commitment. Now, I thought about calculation, I thought about tactics, I thought about openings, about strategy in the middle game. There is still something called endgames, that are basically theoretical endgames. For example, what I would be recommending you is, if I just set up a position, I won't set any position up. Just look up for my other videos if you want to learn more about endgames. That is how you get better at endgames. Thank you very much. See you in the future. Subscribe to my channel, subscribe to my Instagram. See you in the future. Take care.